So, as we come to the final 2 episodes in the first set of the Spy Family anime series, episode 11 turns out to be a very important episode to the story. For not only does Anya, or should I say Starlight Anya, get her first stellar star, but it also gives a slight glimpse of the next member of the Spy family. Now, episode 11 came out a couple of days ago in Crunchyroll, and if you haven't seen it, I would suggest that you look at it. As always, it turns out to be a very hilarious episode. And I have to admit, at the very beginning, when this image started coming out, I really laughed my head off. And the scene that you see with regards to the very precarious situation that Anya is in with regards to her grades versus the dialogue that you hear from the Bondman series fits so well that I really had to laugh at this entire scene. And of course, I have to admit, Tatsuya Endo does a really good job of making sure the character remains in character. As you know, the Stellar Star is an achievement award in terms of excellence that is performed by the student. And typically that turns out to be something like academic excellence or physical activity excellence. And in those cases, Anya turns out to, fail very successfully. And so it would be very unusual for her to be able to achieve a stellar star based on those circumstances, which is one of the reasons why I did enjoy the ending of episode 10. Regardless of how strong Yor is and how good she may be in training Anya, there is very little chance that Anya would be able to create a killer move against somebody as menacing as Bill Watkins, and the way it ended was much more appropriate to the character. And I really like that about Tatsuya Endo. He can make sure that the situation is very appropriate to the character rather than to create some sort of scene that everybody wants to see that will become out of character, but by doing so, creating a hilarious moment that we saw in the ending of episode 10. And we see that once again in episode 11, in that since the relationship between Damien and Anya is not really moving along as Lloyd had hoped, he now has to rely on Anya somehow winning a stellar star. And so he puts Anya to the test with regards to various different situations, and Anya successfully fails at every single one of them. And this is a very good point with regards to this character once again. If Anya is going to get a stellar star, it shouldn't be from her skills, it should be from her heart. And the way Tatsuya Endo wrote this chapter, which turns out to be chapter 16 in the comic, is very well done because he creates a situation where Anya can use her telepathic skills as well as her heart to be able to win that star. If you notice, she did not rescue the child in terms of bringing her directly saving the child, which is expected because she is not really a physically strong person. And so she shouldn't be able to dive into the pool and somehow rescue the child. And thank God Lloyd was there to be able to bring the both of them up. If he wasn't, Anya might have ended up being a victim rather than a savior. But because Anya was able to use her skills and the care that she had to go after that child, she was able to warn the people who had the ability to save the child of the perilous situation that he was in. And so this is a really well set up story to make sure that Anya can get a stellar star within the capabilities that she has without turning her into a level 9000 Super Saiyan character just out of the blue. And of course, the second half of the episode, which corresponds to chapter 17 in the manga turns out to be a very hilarious follow-up to what happens with Anya after she wins that Stellar Star. Now, I was surprised. I wasn't sure if this part was going to come out. I thought that they might lengthen chapter 16 the way they did in episode 10 with chapter 15, because it can close by itself within that chapter. But they brought in chapter 17, which interestingly enough opens up a situation that will be difficult to close within the first set of the series. And looking at the trailer for the next episode, it turns out that the next episode will not follow the slight cliffhanger that is created in the end of episode 11, which is appropriate because what follows from episode 11 in that particular story is actually a long one, and it cannot be answered by a follow-up episode. And so I was wondering, how are they going to do this? And the trailer for episode 12 turns out to be a trailer for 2 short stories that Tatsuya Endo has made for the series. Now, I enjoy them. The aquarium with the penguins, that was a hilarious chapter, and I'm looking forward with it in the episode. But it will not follow up with regards to the question that comes out at the end of episode 11, which of course revolves around the dog. And so what it looks like is they're going to leave that as a cliffhanger to end the first series. Which is going to be a little bit frustrating for the people who watch the anime, because they will have to wait for the next set of episodes to come out. Now, from what I have heard, and I may be wrong about this, so if I am, I apologize right now about this, but looking through the various internet news, it seems like the first set of episodes will end at episode 12, the next episode. And the follow-up set of episodes, 13 of them, will come out sometime later in 2022. From what I have seen, it may be sometime in the fall. And so if episode 12 turns out to be the episodes that I expect based on the trailer that I see, then the question that comes up of what is that dog that we see at the end of episode 11 will not be answered until the beginning of the next set of episodes. And to be honest, I can understand that from a manga reader, because that story will be a very significant one. It's probably going to be the longest story series so far out of all of the episodes that we see. So you can't finish it in one episode, and it will be a wonderful way of opening up the next set of episodes. But once again, it will be extremely frustrating for the anime watchers to be cut off right at that point of what is this dog, and then having to wait many months before the next set of episodes answers that. For the manga readers, we only had to wait a week or two with regards to that. And even that was somewhat frustrating. So I do feel for the anime watchers who see this situation, but maybe that will prompt some people to buy the manga to read what goes on. But in any case, this does move the series to the next level now that Anya has received her first Stellar Star. And of course, we're moving further into the creation of the Spy family. You could think of this part of the series almost as a prologue of creating and bonding the characters that are in the family. And for that, I think they did a wonderful job, both the author of the comic as well as the creators of the anime. And now, once the next set of episodes come out, that will go further into the stories of now that this family has bonded, what are they going to do to move forward with Operation Strix? And I am looking forward to that because, again, the next arc will be a significant one, and it will be a very enjoyable one as well. And even though I have already read the chapters in the manga, I am actually very anxious to see the anime version of it as well. But I really liked this episode for the various subtle points that they brought up. It actually showed one facet of Damien once again, that he actually is a decent guy. He may be frustrated and he may have some very hard-headed views, but his values are there. And the way he responded to how people were heckling Anya and her Stella Star, I think was perfect, because he didn't really support Anya, but he gave a response back that was perfect in roasting all of the people who were making fun of her. And that's perfect once again for Damien, because once again, he is not really, at this point, liking Anya yet. But at the same time, you could see his respect that he gave to her with regards to her winning the Stella Star, despite the fact that he was obviously frustrated from her doing so. And so all of these points that came out in this episode was really good, and I enjoyed this episode very much. Now I look forward to the next episode because it will cover what I think are two short episodes in the comic. One of them is very funny with regards to the aquarium, and the other one is very cute with regards to the stuffed penguin animal that Anya has, or should I say Starlight Anya has. But in any case, I'll wait for that episode, and once that comes out, I'll bring out another video. I hope you join me at that time. But this is the episode 11 discussion for Spy Family. What you think about it, and if you also are a manga reader, do you feel that this will end in that cliffhanger that we see in episode 11? And how do you feel with regards to ending at that point, based on understanding that the next episodes probably covering that won't happen until the fall of this year? In any case, thank you very much for anybody who comments, and until the next episode, happy anime watching, and as always, Jaya, nice day everyone.